Another day, another dollar, another day of LCS done in the books. Welcome back. Jesus, I fucked up that intro really, really bad. But you know what? I don't even care. Welcome back to the Crossover Podcast, everybody. I'm David. This is Paul, aka 23 Tar Heels 50. How you doing, Paul?
Yeah, how are you?
Doing good. Got a few upgrades there.
Oh yeah, got the new mic, and obviously the wall's way better. This isn't my house. I'm staying at somebody else's right now, but hey, I look like I'm bourgeoisie for a week.
Hey, that's all that matters, right?
Oh yeah.
Life's living good. TSM's 3-0 on the week. Paul's probably feeling pretty good, all things considered.
Oh yeah. I'm honestly like I don't want to say it, but probably gonna win an A LCS. Just saying.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
how it is. I mean,
I'm more
sorry.
impressed by the fact that you hit gold 1 in the span of like 2 days.
Oh yeah, I did start off the week gold 3, like almost demoting to gold 4, and then I may have played around 50 games this week, but that's okay.
What made you turn, like, what was the difference? What did you do differently?
I quit playing support, played jungle, played a few games with Mason, and he like hard flamed me and completely changed the way I play the game.
That's Mason for you. He'll change everything about the way you play.
Yep.
He's gonna flame the ever living crap out of you, but you're gonna walk out of it feeling a lot better about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I ended up becoming gold 1, so I feel good now.
What was your peak rank back when we played the rec league together?
Ooh. I think it is gold 1. I've hit gold 1 before, but I ended that season gold 2.
Have you ever hit
So,
plat promos?
no, never been
Okay.
in platforms.
That I'm telling you, that's a whole different gut check. You get up to
Yeah.
that mark, you get into that game 5 where it's like, okay, it's the potential of me making this mark that I've been dreaming about for a long time. And that cockiness, that swagger goes away instantly. And you turtle up to that little ball of a man that you were like 2 weeks prior when you were gold 2. And it's like, man, I don't deserve to be here. You choke it. And then before you know it, you're back down in gold 3. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like that's a universal experience at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the way I'm looking at it is basically I've already been like there's some games I get carried. Like my last game to get to gold 1, I played, if I'm gonna be honest, awful. I think I had 17% kill participation. And
Jesus.
but the enemy support ran into our jungle and died twice in the first, like, before blue buff spawned. So
Yeah, that's a
eh,
tilter.
I'm here. Boom, baby. Gold 1. The best to ever do it. Just saying.
It's the Tyler 1 climb to Challenger.
Yeah, I mean, I am Tyler 1's ego if he was bad at the game. Yep.
I've I've honestly never heard it put that way. That's pretty good. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
All right.
How it is.
Starting off the week, as everybody knows, well, as some people know, for those that are new here, uh, this is a NRG slash VCS focused podcast for the first little bit, but there's no VCS, nor do we have any idea as to when it starts, or the schedule, or anything. Now, to be fair, if you followed the news at all, you've seen that Vietnam has been rocked by a new wave of COVID. Uh, that could be slowing things down in terms of possibly delaying the start. Maybe we are just out of the loop because there's not many English speaking sites that cover the VCS all that much, and the Twitter page that they have isn't really all that inclusive. But yeah, another week, really no VCS to talk about. Other than I think there was like one roster move where somebody got promoted from uh, academy to, well, their like academy to the main team, and that's on Cerebus Esports. Jane and Puddin. Jane and Puddin are going to be starting for Cerebus. I have no clue who they are.
We don't, yeah, I was like, we don't know who these people are.
I'm going to assume they're the best young talent that we've ever seen coming out of Vietnam ever. And
Well, they're the best ones that's gotten through that so far, so
Gam slash NRG should be petrified of these two. You walk into the rift and the guy's name is Puddin, I'd be shitting myself every time.
true. Do you think that he has ties with Russia? It's like a Putin situation.
A Putin pudding.
Yeah,
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's the strategy. You just come in and take over the entire league.
possible.
Just go with the whole Moscow theme.
Yep.
Bring back the Moscow 5, but in Vietnam.
Oh no.
Oh God, I don't know why I went down that rabbit hole,
It's gonna
but
be hilarious though.
it would be. It would be hilarious. Like looking back on it 10 weeks from now, Putin's like the best player in the VCS, and we look back and it's like, yeah, we called this
Yeah, we knew
Vietnam
this guy.
takeover. They already post a
Yeah.
lot of memes on their Twitter account, so it's like, yeah, we could easily get away with like putting a few Putin memes in there.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
I do want to ask you this though, because I had a interaction on Twitter with Andy Miller, who is
Mhm.
one of the CEOs of NRG. I believe
Yeah.
Hex is also a CEO for now, but I think he's looking to divest. But I'm not sure what the situation is there. Uh, you are fairly new to the NRG following. What do you
Mhm.
know about Andy Miller?
Don't.
Do
I
you
don't
know what? Do you know what his affiliation is with anything?
No.
So
Mm-mm.
this might be important for you to know because you never know. You may end up meeting the guy at some point in time later in life. And you don't want to be caught like a dog with his tail between his legs. So
True.
Andy Miller, did you ever used to watch American Idol way back in the day?
Yeah.
You remember how you used to vote on the show? You used to have to like
Mhm.
text those numbers and that counted as a vote, but that was like the very early days of texting where like it still cost you money to send out a text.
Yeah.
He was the company that created that.
Oh.
He was one of the pioneers of SMS texting in the United States. His company
Okay.
then got sold to Apple, and he worked directly with Steve Jobs for a little while,
Sheesh.
even up to the point through him being sick and passing away. Uh, he then obviously amassed a good bit of wealth, is now one of the co owners of the Sacramento Kings.
Oh.
So he's in the NBA. Not that the Pacers and Sacramento Kings have any sort of rivalry for you to be concerned about, but it is a great shit talking like conversation starter if you were to ever see him.
True. I
But
mean, we could talk about how bad both our franchises are, I guess.
I don't know
That's
if going up to an owner of an NBA conversation being like, "Hey, your team's shit and so is mine. Let's talk." I don't know if
I
that's a good
thought
conversation starter or not.
probably terrible, but if I'm to the point where I'm talking to him, I'm already in my most optimal PR form, so I would never say that.
So the reason why I say this is because I brought up the idea on Twitter as a response. Andy and them were doing like an Overwatch League watch party. And
Okay.
do you know that they have a castle out in California?
Yeah, I read it from your tweet and then I looked it up. It actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah, so like they have every video game system ever made. Like they got a whole bunch of stuff over there. That's really
Mhm.
interesting. Uh, if for some reason, on the off chance that they ever do have like an NRG League of Legends watch party, and like you and I feel like are fairly early on the train of like NRG League of Legends in Asia. Like I don't know too many other
Mhm.
people right now that are kind of hopping on that train that don't necessarily work for the organization. Imagine if you got the opportunity to record a crossover podcast in the NRG Castle. What is one question you would ask Andy Miller?
Oh, man. Ask him?
Ask him. You can ask him anything
Oh,
in the world. One of the most powerful people in the United States in terms of like esports
yeah.
impact and impact in sports. What do you ask him?
Uh, why Asia over North America? Because I want to know from like a business perspective why he would have chose them, in the sense of like why, what are you worried about with North American League, or why'd you get out of it? Curious.
I'm curious. Actually, that'd be a really good question because I don't know if the opportunity has presented itself yet to like buy into
Mhm.
North America, but the option was clearly there to buy into Europe. It just got announced this week that the Schalke spot is selling for $30 million,
Way too
likely.
much.
Way too much.
Way.
I think
I
that's
mean, I know
fair.
that's probably fair in that realm. I'm saying like that's a lot of money
Well,
for a
considering
real
they paid
team.
less than 500K for a GAM,
Yep.
which is an absolute steal. I don't find 30
True.
million to be a lot, to be honest. Like all that, like actually, I would say in LCS, despite the result, LCS spots are still more valuable than LEC spots.
Mm-hmm.
Simply because you have the marketing potential and you have a consolidated market, whereas Europe, it's a little bit harder. I think Romain from Unicorns of Love previously talked about this, how like advertising to the different countries in Europe makes it a lot more complicated to bring on sponsors and makes it a lot
Yep.
harder to deal with different fan bases than in the United States. If that's 30 million there, I'd imagine an LCS spot has to be like 35, 40. Or
Oh, for sure.
worst case scenario, like same ballpark.
Yeah, and then, I mean, honestly, we'll probably get to know soon with the way Immortals is. I mean,
Really?
they.
Do you think Immortals?
I mean, I would like for them to sell anybody, honestly, in that area to sell. I just want to see how much a team could sell for in NA, and see the value. I mean, Immortals could go only because I feel like Immortals. I don't know any Immortals fan.
Okay,
Like,
well, let me ask you this question. If you had to sell one, Immortals or Golden Guardians, who are you selling?
ooh. So like, I owned both, and
Uh,
I need to pick
no,
one.
like you're going to be a potential owner. Okay, you say
Oh, I
you have the
see.
$40 million, and you have the option to buy out one of the
Ooh.
partners. The other one is still going to be in the league, and they still have to operate side by side with you to help grow the LCS. Who do you want in the
Mhm.
league? Who do you not?
Oh. I don't think I guess get rid of Golden Guardians, keep Immortal. No, get rid of Immortals, keep Golden Guardians.
Hmm.
Cuz Golden Guardians I'm keeping only because I feel like their owners will figure it out eventually. Like the guys who own GGS overarching will figure it out. Currently, the guy they have there, not trying to remember, just not the guy. But Immortals, I just don't know. I'm not very confident in Immortals upper echelon, and the way that they keep selling and then buying back in and then selling. They go all in on Overwatch League. Overwatch League's a bust. Kind of just a weird organization to me.
Wait, Golden Guardians bought into Overwatch League?
No, Immortals,
Oh,
Immortals.
okay, okay. Sorry, I
Yeah,
don't know what.
their whole run where they sold their team, came back, and nobody wanted them back. When they bought the team, I don't remember anyone going, "Man, it's sick to have Immortals back." It was like, no, that was kind of
That's because like everything that was Immortals, everything that made them great, left whenever Noah Winston left.
yep.
Like he was the face of it's like Hex leaving Optic. Like once he leaves, like all the following goes with him. And because Noah Winston got out of esports entirely and is now purely in politics, there's like no following to Immortals
Hmm.
whatsoever. Like how many
Yeah, he
Immortals
was
fans
really
actually know
good.
Ari Segal?
I don't. I don't. I don't know. I mean, I know him because you say his name and you love numbers and all the stuff behind the scenes. But would I have known him as a TSM fan who watches LCS? No.
No.
Nope. Not at all.
I think that's a good segue into. We'll start it with TSM. I'll let you go on your spiel. TSM has a. I'm not gonna say a phenomenal first week because two of the wins I still think were like a little touch and go. But if you're a TSM fan, I think that's everything you want in week one. 3-0. Does it get any better?
No. I mean, could they be cleaner? Yeah. Were any of the wins really like made me go, man, this team can win it all? No. To be honest, no. I every single game I was like, this is kind of tough, but they at least went 3-0, which is nice. I also want to thank LCS for getting rid of resetting the schedule because it got rid of the curse. They won game one. Pretty sick
Are
because
they
they thought
now
it was just
solely in
carrying
first
over.
place?
Yeah, they're solely in 1st.
Who's behind? I take it. Hundred
Cloud nine.
Thieves, Hundred Thieves, and Cloud9 would be tied behind them then, right?
I
Or no,
I
Cloud
can't
because
remember if
Cloud9
100
was
Thieves
two
is.
games up on Hundred Thieves. Hundred Thieves made up one game this week, so
Mhm.
it'd be TSM. Actually, let me look this up so I'm not speaking entirely out of my ass.
Well, I'm gonna say this without looking it up, and you can correct me when I'm probably wrong. But I'm 90% sure it is TSM, Cloud9, TL, 100 Thieves, Dig.
You're entirely spot on.
Boom.
TSM has a 2-game lead over Dignitas, Team Liquid, and 100 Thieves, all sitting at 13 and 8. Cloud9 sitting at 14-7 after winning their game versus Team Liquid today in
Love that.
fairly dominating fashion.
Yeah, and the rest don't matter, for being honest. The rest are worthless.
Although I will say Immortals had the 3-0 week, but we'll get to that later.
That is true.
Who was your standout player from TSM this week? Watching did you watch all the games?
I got to watch all of them. I didn't get to watch today's in depth because I was obviously power climbing. But of all my games, I would say the standout player would be probably Spica. I felt like Spica was actually playing really good this week. Like, I know that's an easy one to pick. If I had to pick another one, it would maybe be Power of Evil. It's Power of Evil or Spica. Both of them were the two best for sure. Our bottom lane is worrying me. I mean, I don't know what Sword Art's doing half the time, but it's whatever. I guess they paid him money to be there.
I actually thought Lost played well in game.
Lost,
On
yeah.
Friday he played well. Saturday he was a little bit more mixed, but Friday I was really impressed.
I'm worried about his, like, why we're always 20 CS behind against good teams. That's kind of freaking me out. Bottom lane, like, that's a problem that probably needs to be solved, but it's whatever. They get kills to come back, so I guess they're just doing the solo queue method. Good for them. And Huni is Huni playing the game.
Did you watch the replay files on Misfits and SKT?
No, I heard it was great though.
It was phenomenal. You need to watch it. So did you watch The Last Dance as well, like the Michael Jordan film?
Yeah.
You remember the part where they like showed Michael Jordan the clip of, I think it was Dennis Rodman on like an iPad, and like they had MJ react to it?
Yes.
Yeah, they did that exact same thing with Huni in Game 4 of SKT Misfits, where Huni should have died.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think I saw that part in between, like when they start this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that. Yeah. I watched it. I was like, oh, this is like how. Even if Huni plays like crap, his personality is so good that it's like, how do you not? Even if he plays like he did in playoffs last split, where he just crumbled, because he played arguably pretty well, I'd say at the end of the regular season in spring, and he's playing decent now, not great, but I'd say decent. Even if he has a bad week, his attitude's gonna make up for that 100%. You can never stay mad at the guy, ever.
Yeah, I mean, and he honestly is pretty decent. He's not terrible at anything, which I can accept, because I would say that's the one reason they got him over keeping Broken Blade, was because Broken Blade did have some champions that legitimately it was not pretty if he was on them. And weak side, he really struggled. And Huni can at least play weak side a little bit. It just takes him a couple games because he has to remember he can't just int and go for solo kills. But he is like relatively good at figuring it out and fitting in. I'm kind of worried about playoffs again, because I mean last playoffs was no indication, but luckily all the best top laners are getting benched, so we're good. We're good.
I guess I'll transition that to TL, and you let me know that Alfari was benched. I just randomly, getting in the shower, and I just get this message from you saying, hey, Alfari is benched, what the fuck? Yep. And it's like, I don't, like, that changes everything with this split.
Oh yeah.
Like, do you still put Team Liquid as a top 2 team now? Or do you demote them further?
I mean, top 2, I was already iffy on them being top 2, but we had talked about this. They were like top 2 in the sense of they're top 2 now, but we were worried about their ceiling. Getting rid of Alfari just hurts the ceiling really bad. And the whole fact that they're crumbling, like, emotionally, I don't know what's going on back there, but from what Kobe said on the dive that they were having a lot of problems in-house, and then he said Alfari could possibly get benched, and Alfari gets benched, and all of a sudden now we're looking at a situation where they legitimately are just not playing great. I mean, they won yesterday against CLG, but if you're not beating CLG, you're not trying. And then they lost to Cloud9 today. thusly proving like this is troll. I didn't get to watch that game.
They got
Did Jenkins
smashed.
get destroyed,
Um, I don't
or did he play
remember.
decent?
I didn't watch until the very end, so I can't really speak on it all that much. But I will say Jenkins did relatively impress me yesterday. Finn's been one of the more stable top laners in the
Okay.
LCS all of last split. Like even when they were losing consistently, Finn was still doing relatively fine.
Oh,
And Jenkins held his own yesterday. He got
yep.
everything in the sun thrown at him, and he
Mm-hmm.
was still able to hold his composure for the most part. There was one or two plays where like I think it was a 3-man dive top after they just dove him like a minute prior, and
Yep.
he finally had his flash up, and he shouldn't have wasted it. He should have just taken his medicine and died. But that was just one of those like I think he just panicked a little bit and kind of wanted to, make the fancy outplay rather than just saving it. I mean, it didn't cost him the game or anything. It didn't change the outcome. But it's just one of
Mm-hmm.
those things that like you look at that, it's like, okay, yeah, he's probably still a little bit nervous, still a little bit new. Can he compete against arguably no, they didn't play TL played Cloud9, so they played against Fudge. I need to go back and look at that. Do I think he
Yeah.
stacks up against Hooney? No, not yet. Do I think he stats up against Someday? Definitely not, especially if you let Someday get Gwen again. Uh, I don't know. I put him solidly in the middle. I'm not
Yeah.
dissuaded by his performance. He's no Alfari, but
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know. Like this to me, I would solidly put TL third after what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Oh, he's your second.
100 Thieves.
You're the worst.
You're telling me after the
You're
games we
the
saw this
worst.
weekend that you're not putting 100 Thieves. Okay, well, wait. Did you see the game today or no?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. You're
Yeah.
really telling me. We've only seen Abadage on Karma so far. And you're
Well,
telling me that.
wait, are you putting TSM first then and Cloud9 fourth?
Yeah, I would put I would put TSM first.
Oh. Oh.
Or no.
Let's
Sorry.
go.
Whoa. Hang on. Hold up. I misspoke. I would put. I still put Cloud9 first at the end of the season. I think they eventually get their shit together post MSI. Uh, I would put, as of right now, you put TSM above 100 Thieves at second, just because I feel like they're trending upwards, and I will give you that. And I think you put 100 Thieves still solidly at third, but I think the 100 Thieves TSM, like, that right now is a very even matchup between the two. Yeah, 100 Thieves chucked their first
Oh
game
yeah.
against Golden Guardians. The first day was kind of weird, all things considered. Everybody that was supposed to win lost. Everybody that was supposed to lose win.
Mm-hmm.
But the last 2 days, I've been very impressed. Their drafts have just been phenomenal. Like I love the free flowingness that comes with it. I love the draft today specifically was great, even though Gwen was left open and it kind of was what it was. But like you do exactly what I want them to do. Abadage can play damage if you want to, but they gave closer and FBI champions that they can carry on, and they did easily. Same thing with Someday. It's like that's a winning formula to me because if you put them 100 Thieves versus TSM right now, FBI and who he win bot easily. Like after the 3 games I've seen, bot is still the weakest lane for TSM at the moment.
Yep.
PoE, it's really hard to measure PoE against Abadage at the moment because like you have 3 Karma games versus 2 Viego games, and I'm not sure what PoE played yesterday. But I'd say I'd favor PoE temporarily for that.
Mm-hmm.
Jungle matchup I'd put is pretty much even at the moment between Closer and Spica. Spica's been playing well, but not so much that I would give him any more than just barely a slight edge. Top lane, you easily favor Someday at the moment.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I think so. After the last 2 days, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just day one. He looked terrible.
Agreed. But the whole team looked like crap
I
on
guess
day
he just
one.
coin flip someday.
Yeah.
Like it's really just coin flip lane.
Yeah. So if that's the case then, so if top's coin flip, jungle and mid are pretty much even but slightly favored TSM side, and then bot is heavily favored 100 Thieves side. I would take 100 Thieves in that series right now. But I think
Yeah,
it'll
I
be
mean,
close.
I think I would. I could take TSM only because their team fighting is better, but
Yeah,
I could see how both of us from our side would be able to take our own team. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
and
putting our biases in there, we could easily go, I'm just taking my team.
yeah, and I think either one of us could easily make a realistic argument for the for the other person's team with ease.
Yep.
Like I think you could make a
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
valid argument for 100 Thieves, and I could sit here and give you 1,000 reasons why TSM would whoop 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and Abadage hasn't even played a carry champ yet, and I like him on those, so yeah.
Here's my problem. Closer hasn't looked good on tanks.
Mm-hmm.
And do you give Abadage the carry champ even though Abadage's skill ceiling is higher with carry champions than closer, do you give it to him, knowing that the drop off of closer between tanks and carry junglers is pretty insane, or do you just keep Abadage on supportive like Karma, Lulu,
Ooh.
Oriana, like supportive champions that just don't lose lane but help out in team fights?
Yeah, I feel like at some point you're gonna have to give him carry champ, or you're gonna have to move closer onto a tank. Well, you don't have to, but there's gonna be a moment where they're going to need to, and it's gonna be very awkward when they can't. I mean, maybe they could find a way around it by just putting him on carry champs and giving someday a tank. It's definitely going to be a problem, though. I mean, going into long series, I think, is where you'll find it to be an issue because if his playstyle gets found out too much, it could be a problem. But overall, I mean, you can get away with it in NA. That's really a problem for Worlds.
Yeah. From TSM side, I feel like the only players that I ironically don't feel confident being on a carry champion are Lost and Huni Jesus.
Uni, yeah.
Huni at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is weird because PoE, I love this version of PoE where it feels like he's back to 2017, where he's able to play some of the assassins. Like he used to have a dirty talent. I don't know if people remember that at all, but yeah, like his Viego is reminding me a lot of that era of PoE, which I love.
Yeah, and he's PoE. He plays everything. It's kind of what he's known for, and he's doing it right now. I don't know. They're such a weird team though, because I mean, it's exactly what you said. We're worried about some of the more important roles on their team, and for some reason, Sword Art just kind of trolls sometimes. If they can figure it out by the end of the season, that'd be sick. But they're definitely in a spot where they could have just as easily went 0-3 as they did 3-0. So that is an issue.
Wasn't that their storyline in spring too, where they would bounce back? They would go like 3-0 one week, 0-3 the next, or like some variation of that. Like they were very flip flop, or is that prior year?
That was the year before when they were doing the 2-0 weeks, like every week, and then this year they kind of just decided, or this spring they were doing the 1-1s a lot. And then they started 2-0ing a lot. Towards the end of the year, they looked really good. They made a push for third, so I mean, you can't complain, I guess, if you're a TSM fan. I'll take third. But, yeah, this summer is where we both thought they would get better anyways.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that was Mason's in chat, the guy that brought you up to gold 1. Poggers.
I mean,
I don't. Let me ask you this: who do you think, based on, obviously we're 1 week now, but give me your overreactions, underreactions. Team Liquid to miss Worlds.
Yeah, I would say
Right on par.
that would be an overreaction though, because they can still bring back Alfari. Maybe they can get it together. I never rule out Core JJ because Core JJ is a stud. And I'd have to see what happens there. Now, if Core JJ really is mad at Team Liquid, clip this. Hey, come on over, baby. We can give you Sword Art. We'll pay the contract still. Come on over.
Okay, hold up. Let me preface this by saying, Huhi, I love you to death, man. I really do. Love the work you're doing on 100 Thieves. Really do. But if Core JJ becomes available,
Yeah.
I'm throwing everything in the book to try and get him on 100 Thieves too.
Who isn't?
I give no shits about anything. Like I'm paying everything I can to try and get him there. He'd be so
Yeah.
great for content too. He'd fit in so
yeah.
well with 100 Thieves.
Yeah, everybody wants that, man. And I could see a world where TL misses Worlds, mainly because it would be if 100 Thieves, TSM, and Cloud9 can perform. And I would say they would have to underperform. That's a big thing. They would have to underperform because I don't think they're actually worse than TSM. I just think they're in a rut.
Well, given the
And
given the current format, they would likely have a chance to play 2 out of the 3 teams that are jockeying for a position with them. So if I were to match it up 1-on-1, say Alfari's out the entire time. Jenkins gets better, say he's like a broken blade of like 2018 or was it 20 sorry, not 2018, 2019 spring where he just gets quickly better over the course of the split. Do you have Team Liquid beating Cloud9 in a best of 5?
oh, like they're on all cylinders, and he got profusely better.
Yeah, both teams get better. Both teams climb their way up to the end of the year. See, okay, so
No.
excuse me. Do you see Team Liquid beating TSM in a best of 5?
If he gets better and they're firing on all cylinders, yes.
Do you see Team Liquid beating 100 Thieves if both teams level up that much?
I don't know yet.
So the only team that you feel like you can confidently see them beating is TSM if they're firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, because they're a team fighting team, and that's why I think they're a really bad matchup for TSM. TSM needs the issue for TSM is that they'll whatever they do at the beginning of the game, if they make it so that it's really easy to close out a game, then they have an easier time closing it. Usually they end up trolling, and then they kind of go back on their TL. I would say the best way to describe them is TL light. Like they're just a very bad version of TLs, slowly stall out and win the game, and that's what they do. And I mean, look at their game today. TSM kind of struggled early, and then found a way to get back into the game, crawled back and won. That's really hard to do against TL when they're firing on all cylinders, because they'll just beat you in team fights. We saw it in that game too, week 1. We saw TL almost beat them in a fight where they had Elder, and I was like, oh man, this could be really bad for the old ego trade. I was like, not good.
I was kind of hoping they lose that just so that you'd have the 2 in 1 week like we did, and that way it wouldn't feel as because right now it's I can't deny TSM's on top, and it's I just really want to play. Actually, let me pull up the schedule because I feel oh wait a minute, first matchup next week on Friday at 6 p.m. TSM 100 Thieves.
Really?
Yeah, it's the first game of the week.
That'll answer a lot of questions until they play again in a few weeks.
Yeah. They'll play again, I think, in 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks after that.
That'll tell us all we need to know about them going into playoffs. And then they'll play again. And by then, we'll have a completely different narrative.
It's amazing that we're going to be playing 27 games over the course of 9 weeks.
Yes. That's so many games.
I love it, though. I really do.
And they're all best of ones.
That I'm not so hype on. But, it kind of is what it is. I will say the Academy series now being best of 2s has been really nice. I don't know if you've watched any of Academy. They do it like how it used to be. It's 3 series on the main stream, 2 on on the Nerd Street Gamers stream. And it has been really fun to watch best of 1s or best of 2s because if it was LCS, I think I'd have a bigger problem with it because going 1-1 just feels But going 1-1 in Academy, the big matchup from this past weekend was Cloud9 Academy, who's arguably the top LCS Academy team, and 100 Thieves Academy with Kemvi, Tenacity, and the squad. They tied 1-1. But it was a phenomenal series of them tying 1-1. That it's okay, I want to see more of this. I'm happy with the 1-1. I'll get to see it again soon. I want to see more of it. That was a phenomenal change, and I loved every bit about that. It's making me watch more Academy this year than I ever have before.
That's good.
I would highly recommend you try watching some Academy if you can. Rather
Yeah,
than just trying to buy out
just
Core JJ, maybe you can actually get like a decent up and coming NA support.
there's none of those.
Hey, speaking of
Yeah,
the all NA team
Poon
though,
Gang, right? Poon
well,
Gang.
yeah, he's not
Yeah,
bad, but
there
I
you
like
go. NA Sports.
he's
Ooh.
Canadian, so
He's in A.
he's NA,
Yeah.
but he's only been playing
Um,
professional video games for like a year and a half. That's it,
true.
and he's 23, I think.
Well, yeah, I'm not calling him washed. I'm not calling all NA players bad. I'm just saying, like, hmm,
No.
no.
Speaking of the all NA players, though, let's talk about the all NA
Oh,
team in
no.
Dignitas.
They-
Darius Jungle today for
Yeah.
Dardoch, and it worked a little bit in the beginning, but very very quickly fell apart later.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly thought this team was going to come out of the gate and stumble, and I thought they'd fall down to like 6th or 7th place, and they're continuously proving, at least early on in the split, that they belong in the top 5. Do you give them any chance whatsoever to win enough games to keep them in the top 4?
Oh, top 4, no. Well, actually, I say they have a pretty good chance, actually, for being a dark horse in the sense of if TL or C9 continue the trajectory of what they're doing, which is like not very good, and benching some of your more stable or possibly best players for academy guys, and because you hate each other, then yeah, they could probably sneak their way in. They're not very convincing. I would say every Dignitas game I watch doesn't make me go, dang, this team is insane. They could win an A. But I think once series has come to best of fives, they're in a lot of hot water. Like, it's not going to be fun for them to play any of these teams in a best of 5 because the clutch players kind of tend to show up in the playoffs, and a lot of dudes on Dignitas aren't really that. So
I feel like their playstyle is very well suited for best of ones. But as it showed in spring,
Yep.
once they get to a best of 5, they get figured out so easy that they might win a game, but that's all they're going to get. Because it's not hard to clean up the draft and clean up some of the mistakes that you make against them and just fix it in a best of 5. Like, they didn't win a single best of 5 series in the last playoffs, did they?
I could not confirm that. No, I don't
I'll
know.
double check, but I'm 90% certain they didn't.
Yeah, they weren't very good. Like, I remember when they went to play. Actually, it could have been a couple years ago. They played TSM, man. But I'm pretty sure they played TSM, and I was like, "This is gonna be a stomp," and it was a stomp. No, they didn't play them this year. That was
Mid-season
2 years.
showdown. They go. Okay, they started in the losers bracket because they stumbled down the end and ended up finishing like 6th in the regular season, and they lost 0-3 to 100 Thieves. So
Yeah.
they didn't win a single game in that best of 5 come playoffs against a arguably very weak 100 Thieves.
Not arguably, yeah, they were worse
Yeah.
than they are now in every way, drafting and play.
So, I mean, I think Dignitas is a great team to have in the regular season, like higher up in the standings, just because it makes it fun. Dardoch's fun to
Yeah.
watch. You never know what he's going to play in jungle. But by week 9 of the regular season, I kind of hope they fall out of top 4 just so that the conversation can rightfully be on the 4 teams that realistically stand a chance of getting to Worlds.
Yep.
Like, I love seeing Dignitas play. Nothing against them, and by all means, they can prove me wrong, and I hope I am wrong. But yeah, I don't know how this works well for them at all.
Yeah, it's. I would say the best way to describe it is, or Cloud9 benching Sven, right? And Dignitas trying to place up is like, I don't know. I really don't think it goes well for Dig because by the end of the year they get figured out. 100 Thieves does their thing. Cloud9 will probably have Sven back, I'd assume. I mean, do we? I guess we don't know. Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't. And actually, if you want to go on like a 3-minute tangent on your thoughts on teams benching players and then give me a TLDR at the end, I have to step away for 2 seconds, and I apologize.
Okay,
But I need
you're good.
you go ahead and go on that rant.
Okay. Well, I would say a good way to start this off would be we don't. I mean, what is Cloud9 doing here? What are they trying to accomplish? We all know that they struggle in summer. It's kind of what they've been doing since they got rid of Sneaky. That's not to do the bring Sneaky back meme. Blabber is very easily readable. That's an issue we know. They haven't addressed it, so that's definitely not the greatest thing in the world. And maybe you bring in a second jungler again, like they had with Sven Scared. I don't know. But for Team Liquid, that's just cringe. That's tough. Alfar seems actually like a cool dude. Like his press conference, he seemed tilted, but he didn't seem like a jerk. I can see though why like players would be mad. Maybe they think he's not trying hard enough. I don't know, but he's definitely a cool dude. So I'm not really sure why they're trolling him. Pretty terrible if you ask me. And then, hmm. Uh, hey, GGS looks pretty good with their roster changes. I won't blame them. They actually looked pretty decent. I didn't mind watching them. Blaze Olive is fun to watch. Uh, Immortals looked pretty good. Don't really got anything for them. I mean, they're the same team. FlyQuest is terrible. That EG FlyQuest game was brutal. Evil Geniuses, Danny seems fine. I think Danny's okay. Not really convinced though that Danny's going to change anything. For TSM, I think we're all. It's time to pack it up, folks. This is probably our peak, if I'm being honest, boys. Could be. This is either the dream run or this is the end. Get your crypto and let's run because it ain't pretty. If we're being honest, TSM fans, let's be real here. Let's have a heart to heart for a minute. Let's be real. It ain't. It's done. It's done. You know it. I know it. Everyone in the room knows it. It's
What do I know, Paul?
I basically went on a whole rant about how to summarize TLDR. I said C9's trolling. Possibly could need to do another double jungle situation like they did with Svenskaren and Blabber to try to fix that because that was troll. Team Liquid, Alfar seems cool to me, so I don't get why he's ticking people off. Everything I've seen of him, he seems like a chill guy. Danny was actually pretty good. I enjoyed watching Danny. I don't mind him. Golden Guardians actually seemed pretty decent this weekend. Like, I actually didn't hate their games. Mortals, top laner got gapped on Twitter. But other than that, decent. Decent team. And then I said, TSM fans, either this is the start of a dream run or the end.
Yeah.
Enjoy this peak.
Enjoy the $210 million while you have it. That money goes away quick.
We're on the top right now. And let's just be happy.
I'm curious your thoughts. Obviously, Revenge got gapped in terms of the like to retweet ratios on social media. But I'm honestly happy that he tried shit talking, even though it backfired horrendously on him.
Yeah.
I felt like it made it interesting. It made me want to watch the Immortals games, whether he played good or bad. I just wanted to see it, which I appreciate. Like even if you suck at shit talking for now, like he should have taken his burn. I think I said I think I replied to him on Twitter and said like you should probably let that burn heal for a minute before you whiff that hard. And it's like, dude, like the art of shit talking is not the first tweet you send out. It's always the second or third response.
Yep.
That is so much more important than the initial tweet. And if you can't do that, you're going to be in for a rough time. I'm glad his play backed it up and he doesn't get memed into oblivion. But it's a good first step. I hope more pros take after his lead there, start shit talking some more.
Yeah.
Just do it tastefully. Unless there really is bad blood, then like fucking let me see it. I want to see all like if Alfari comes back in, like I'm not saying flame TL management, but it'd be kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, if Alfari comes back in, I don't think it's like TL did something wrong. I think they're trying to fix whatever happened recently, and they just don't know how. And I don't want to blame them for that, but it's definitely awkward. Why let him play game one
Yeah.
and then bench him after you lose? That's the part I think stinks. It makes it seem like it's a performance thing. And
I completely disagree. And I think that makes it seem like he like cussed out like Jat's mom or something like that behind the
oh,
scenes.
true,
And like
actually, yeah.
that would like
Yeah, I'm wrong.
you
Yeah.
don't issue that sort of statement at like 11 p.m. at night for like
Ha.
somebody playing bad during the day,
Yeah.
which he didn't. Like that is a like he came back and like broke 3 holes in monitors and they need to bench him immediately. Like that's emergency. Like you fucked up so bad that we need to take you off of this
True.
immediately. Like I'm not saying like it's, attitude problem because I think Jat just spoke about this today on
I didn't see this. Can you give me the TLDR?
yeah, so on for those that don't know, prior to the LCS, they swapped up the instead of countdown, there's 3 different series now. Sundays are a roundtable, which today included Meteos as the consistent host, Emily Rand, Wild Turtle, and Jat. And Jat specifically commented, ironically, this was filmed prior to this happening, but he said, I'm tired of when people get benched or if there's anything going on, people automatically assume that it's attitude issues. He said, there is so much more to every situation that you don't want to just pigeonhole every single time that this happens to that one thing, even though that's going to be natural tendency because as fans, we want to know what's going on. When we don't know and it's not play oriented, we're going to assume it's attitude issues.
Yep.
I I don't want to
Yeah.
fall into the trap of saying the same thing, but like you don't do this without there being some sort of really bad action leading into it. Like as you said, it's one game. It's midweek. There's no way that Jenkins practiced with the LCS squad this week.
Hmm.
No chance.
Yeah. It's really awkward. And I mean, the only reason I was thrown out play is because I know he like kind of sucked on the least in, but I didn't think it was that bad that you just get rid of him. And you're right, it has to be like attitude. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can't just like bench your. I mean, honestly, he was a huge signing for them this summer. He was super hyped. Everybody was calling him the best top in NA, and then he comes here, and I mean, he hasn't really shown, I guess, that he's the best top of NA, but he hasn't been the worst.
Yeah.
He's definitely been close to top 2 at all times, and number 2's been interchanging, and he hasn't been interchanging. So I don't really get what happened. I
Which
mean,
do
I
you
just
think
feel
was
like
the more
it's freaking out.
surprising benching? Sven or Alfari?
Oh, Sven for me because Alfari, I can at least sit there and go, yeah, he's not playing perfect. And if he's not playing perfect and also talking a lot of trash, I get it. But Sven was literally the only good thing on Cloud9 at MSI at a lot of points. Not the only good thing, I guess. He
Yeah.
was, because Fudge was good, but he was the most consistent. Fudge was having some low lows and some really high highs. Sven, every game was just going through, doing his thing, doing his job.
I'll throw
Uh,
Vulcan in there as well, just for
yeah, Vulcan was doing good, but Vulcan was also kind of inting sometimes with Blabber. Maybe that was to try to save Blabber, but at the same time, he was kind of griefing at points too. And I mean, he wasn't the worst either, yeah. It was really just Perks and mainly Blabber. I don't understand how Blabber has just scammed this organization the
yeah.
way he has, but good for him. Good
I
for him.
I think had Kobe not spoiled a little bit of this coming with TL, I
Yeah.
think this would have been bigger news. But the fact that Kobe just added that tiny little wedge in there, that it's like, okay,
Mhm.
once a change happened, it's like, that's what he said. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense now. It's like the C9
Yep.
one literally came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
Like it was just a random video that's like, yeah, Sven's now an academy. Sorry, it is what it is.
And quality of player. I mean, C9 exchanged King for Sven. I think we've all seen enough King over the years. He's nothing new. We know his ceiling. He's not gonna suddenly overperform. At least with Jenkins, we can be like, oh, I've never seen Jenkins. Hope he does well. I don't know. But with King, I'm like, yeah, I know this guy's not gonna be a good ADC in LCS. So
What if
cool.
Cloud9 would have said like, hey, we're signing value from 100 Thieves Academy and putting him in as our starting ADC?
Wait, Value 247?
Yeah,
He's on 100 Thieves?
I'm pretty. Yeah, he's their ADC, isn't he?
Oh, shoot!
Isn't he?
I didn't know.
Hang on. Now you're making me question this. 100 T Academy. LOL fandom. No, I'm sorry. Value. Who did Value play for? Value played for.
Value didn't get a team. He played for that no org.
Oh, no org. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah,
Yeah.
say Value comes in because he's a college kid. He comes in
Yeah.
over King. Are you more excited than King?
Oh yes, 100%.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
just curious.
I mean, I'm biased because I like Value, but at the same time, at least I'm like, okay, it's something new. Like King is not something new. He's been in academy for like 3 years, and before that, he had a whole career in OPL, and we've seen what he can do, and he's always gotten bodied at Worlds. So not to say TSM doesn't send a lot of dudes to get bodied at Worlds, but he gets bodied at Worlds, and that's like I don't need to see more of that. I know it's gonna happen, and I know he's not gonna take over a game, and he hasn't taken over a game, so I don't really get what they're doing here. I guess they're trying to just stick it to Sven. That's all I can see. Now the
so.
TL one, I can at least look and be like, hey, you know what? Maybe for their sake, and I like Jet, little biased, but maybe this Jenkins kid has got it. Does he got it? No. But we can sit there and think maybe he's got it.
Hey, he could be the licorice that comes in and just slowly starts playing well. Because if you remember when Cloud9 subbed out, Sneaky, who all they subbed out? Sneaky, Jensen, and was it Impact? No, who was their top
Ray? Ray, right?
Was it? Was it really Ray?
Maybe
no, I thought it was somebody. No, it had to have been somebody else. Because Impact was on Team Liquid, and it might have been Ray. You're right. I think you might be right. Nevertheless, they lost that first week that they all got subbed in, and like Licorice did not look great, but then he bounced back pretty quick. So I think next week will be the big telling sign when these players have like a full week of practice. You know, everything's getting back to normal for Cloud9. They just started scrimming 2 days ago, so really nothing to worry about there yet.
Yep.
That'll be the real sign. So give it time. Next week, I think we can revisit this discussion and say like, hey, maybe it's really not working out. Maybe there is an issue. I don't know. We'll see. I got one final topic that I'll go over that's more of a general point, but anything you want to discuss on LCS, LEC starts up this week, LPL, LCK, all the other global leagues start up this week. Any other notes you want to hit on before I bring up one final point?
For LEC, I mean, we're just looking at the jungle changes. That's what I'm most excited for. I mean, I would say jungle's going to be sick. I mean, it's probably, and when I say sick, I mean ill, because it doesn't make any sense. They're autofilling everybody, and we'll see what happens there.
For reference, Fnatic plays Mad Lions notably. So that'll be El Yoya versus Flippo in jungle.
No.
Treats went to who? XL?
No, Treats is on SK still.
Oh, SK. So SK...
And they...
Yeah. Oh, God.
Oh, and he even said after they announced him as their jungler, he goes and tweets, in a video he says, I don't want to be a jungler forever. So don't expect this to be a permanent role swap. So that's good to hear.
Oh God, I didn't even hear that.
Yeah, that was in a Twitter video.
Oh man, I hope he's memeing. I
No,
really hope.
he's serious.
Oh no, treats. Why?
They're ruining him, bro. I mean, the dude, like, I don't know.
I don't know. Your
At
boy.
least Jesus gets his ego boost.
That's true. G2 has an interesting first week against Mad Lions starting off, and then against your boy Broken Blade at Schalke 04. So
He got hosed.
yeah, I'm. Oh wait, this is actually a super week. I just realized that. So there's 3 games. So oh god, Fnatic plays Rogue as well. So they play Mad Lions and Rogue both within the first week.
Wow.
That's gonna be rough for Blippo. Like he's either gonna come out really hot and just defy all expectations, or he's gonna get smashed on Saturday and Sunday. And people are gonna be like, "Well, cash it in, boys. Save some money.
Yeah.
Call it good. Wait till next year."
Well, it's fine. If they lose, they can just say self-made did it.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
All right, I got one final topic that came up today in the series with Meteos, and it was Jat specifically saying this. And I know your mentality, so I have a feeling I know how you're going to react to this. But Jat said that he's really annoyed by the LCS fandom, in that not enough people are actually vocally supporting the LCS and talking about it positively. And he said he gets that our performance has been relatively weak, and that everything that we do as a region is going to come off as an excuse when we don't win. And he knows that it sucks, but they're trying to make changes. And quite frankly, we need the positive voices to stand out more in North America. It can't just be we are trash, lol, NA, all the standard reactions that we've seen pretty much consistently for about a year and a half now.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? How would you react? What would you respond back to Jat with?
Well, I think my first thing would be like, I would say that's what we are. We're pretty, we're copiums, at least, I would say. We have always, the whole time we've known each other, we have acted like NA will win. And my response to him would be, what does that get a fan? Because I would say for us, it's mainly got us made fun of. Like, we sit there and try to say that NA can win, and then we have to, like, when you're having to tell people that you think NA can make it out of groups, but then on your pick'ems having to put that not a single team makes it out because, like, that little bit of realism comes out, there's not a lot you can do, especially when that becomes true. Because that's what happened last Worlds. I was like, yeah, NA will be fine. I was like, NA will be fine. They'll win a game. They'll be fine. And then I put not a single one making it out of groups.
And you were right.
And yeah, and I was right. And that's never a good thing. You do not want to put your fans in a position where they're promoting you. And especially, I don't like that he said he thinks they should be more, like, they should be more open with their voice, because I feel like that's tough. You're putting a lot of heat on people to come out and try to support something that really hasn't given them any results. And that's kind of an issue. And unfortunately, sports are results based. I mean, if you don't like that, then you'd have to leave sports, because that's what they are.
Yeah. My issue. Okay, let me preface this by saying I agree with Jat that LCS needs to become either more positive, or people need to learn to shut their damn mouths and stop being so negative. I think that's more of the problem than the positive people speaking out, because, as you rightfully pointed out, there's only so much we can say because we don't have the results to back it up. We get smashed internationally for the most part, and there's nothing we can do about that. Like, TL came close last year, but close doesn't matter, unfortunately. We still didn't make it out of groups. We haven't had a team out since 2018. I can be positive about our players whenever it's in the LCS season all I want, but then I have to somewhat be realistic, otherwise I'm just straight up lying.
Yeah.
And I want to be positive, but I need something to go on. Now, looking at the NRG Discord, which talks about like LCS, LEC, and everywhere else, I can tell you I stopped visiting the Discord as much during the LCS season last year because there were so many people constantly saying, I'm not watching it, this gameplay is trash.
Mm-hmm.
And while to a certain extent, I do get it. When you watch the LEC or the LCK or the LPL, you can notice the decrease in the level of gameplay. Like, it actually is noticeable if you watch all the leagues. But it doesn't need to be said every single goddamn time. It really doesn't. And that's the annoying part is like, I can't sit here and enjoy my Fiesta in NA without somebody coming in and being like, you know, it's a Fiesta, right? It's like, yes, I know it's a Fiesta. You don't, like, you really don't have to say that. And I think part of the reason why Reddit and Twitter are so bad is because you have the blend of both EU and NA. And EU are just shit talking for the sake of doing it because they get to. They're on that higher pedestal. They will make those jokes in the same way that I would make fun of EU if we were in that set, if the roles were swapped. But North American fans don't have the ability to just brush that off. Instead, I feel like a lot of people see that and they give into it. And they just join in on it because it's easier to join in than to stand up and be like, yeah, we suck at the moment. It is what it is, but you know what? We're working to get better. And I know our results may not show it, but hopefully we'll get there. And that is a very hard thing to do because you're going against peer pressure and public opinion. But it's not that I want to see more people be positive overall, because everything you said is right. We just have to cut out the negativity. And I don't think COVID helps that either, because everybody's locked inside and you're going to see the negative side of things. You're going to be pessimistic. There's a lot of external factors that go into this as well. But can we, I agree with Jack, can we please stop with the LCS negativity? This was one of the best weekends of not only gameplay, but also just LCS show experience. We were back in person. The pre-shows were incredible. Like, this was one of the best weekends of LCS that I think we've had in years by a long shot.
Yep. And yeah, I agree. Like, it's that, especially with the Discord point of that was a lot to take in. Like, I quit going into Discourse too that talked about, and I quit reading Reddit, to be honest, because I would rather just read the TSM like sub fan page or my team's fan page, because I don't really like the amount of people that are just saying like, yeah, my team sucks and this team is trash because they're in an A. And I was like, well, that doesn't help me. I don't find that interesting. And it's kind of weird. I would say, I guess the best way to like summarize the way it is with our results, especially the fact that we're worse, it's almost like watching a college team or a college region constantly be thrown into like a playoff that has professional teams in it. And it's just odd. But I think what hurts it the most is that they're all easily accessible and all of this is online. And so somebody can literally stay up all night, watch China, watch Korea, watch EU, then watch NA, and they're tired. They've seen all the games, they've been watching League all day, and they decide, you know what, I'm just going to sit in here and trash talk because they're tired and toxic. The two T's that should never be combined. And they come in there and they just start making fun of people, flaming them, and it ruins it for everybody else, especially on LCS, because I mean, I'm watching it because it's in my time zone and I have my favorite team, and I'd rather watch TSM play the game, win it, and be happy than read everyone who said they can't keep getting away with this memes and all that I've seen a million times for the past 5 years because they won a game that was close. It's just annoying, I guess.
I agree with you. I think the college point is very, very fair, because I think back to the years post Tim Tebow for the University of Florida. For those that don't know, I'm a Florida Gators fan in college. We were not good. Like, the Will Muschamp era was bad. We didn't have a decent quarterback until right now with Kyle Trask. Like, but even though we weren't good, even though our results were still crap, we filled stadiums. And people talked about it, and people were still happy to go to games because it's a Florida Gators game. Like, there's that pride in the team that keeps you coming back, whether you went to school, whether you're from the area. Like, there's other factors that even when they're losing horribly, and yes, ticket sales will decline as popularity decreases a little bit, but there's
Yeah.
always that core fandom there. And I think that's the biggest problem, that outside of TSM, outside of 100 Thieves, outside of Cloud9, I would not throw Team Liquid into that mix just yet. Uh,
fair.
the core fandom is not there for teams, and because of that, I think that just throws a kink in it, because you don't have that safety net to fall back on even when you're playing bad. Like, you can guarantee, like, the worst years of Optics Call of Duty history, the fans would still be outnumbering on Optics side 20-1. And even in the worst times where you didn't even know whether they were going to get a group play there, you would still have people show up and cheer them on. And did it suck? Yeah. Would people leave before the finals? Yeah. But that's what you do when you support a team. You still show up even in the bad times. There's just not, in LCS, we have not done a good job of cultivating fans of teams that are willing to show up through thick and thin.
Yeah. It's gonna sound weird to say it, but it's almost like upgrading to 10 teams might have been bad for NA. Maybe we weren't ready for it. Maybe it was too early. Not because of like you have to grow eventually, but like you're not wrong. Like, we don't have 10 teams worth of fans, or at least we don't have 10 teams worth of fan like base levels that we can have all these people watching them. Because right now, like, if you look at, I would say a good metric is like Travis Gafford interviews.
Yeah.
Nobody is watching an Immortals or Golden Guardians interview.
So for those that don't know, I actually collected all this data. Travis specifically asked me to go in and categorize and total up the viewership based on player, based on team, and region as well. And if a player was not on TSM, the numbers tanked. Like, even Cloud9 players, even Team Liquid players. Like, this was during Team Liquid's dominance. If it wasn't Double Lift or it wasn't TSM, people weren't watching.
Yeah.
You could throw Jensen in there. You could throw Core JJ in there. You could throw any of them in there. It didn't matter. Nothing. Like, okay, not obviously he still has like a baseline views, but what I'm saying is it's not that peak that you get when it's TSM.
Yep.
And you are very lucky to be in that fan base. Always knowing that, you can go to any stadium in the world, start a TSM chant, and there'll probably be a few more TSM fans there.
Yeah, the one World Finals we went to in Detroit.
Yeah.
I remember we were there. That was probably TSM's lowest in LCS. Like, hands down, lowest moment they've ever been at. And that place was packed with TSM jerseys.
Oh, yeah.
There were a ton of them. And people were even meme chanting TSM there. Like, people loved it. And
Cloud9 was the number one team there. Like, their jerseys sold out, but TSM was like easily number 2.
Yeah, and TSM wasn't even close to the event. They got knocked out way early that year. They weren't even in the 3rd and 4th place game. And they were clearly number 2, and Cloud9 was peaking. So it's kind of insane that TSM, even in their worst form, is still carrying the league with viewership numbers and all that. But I mean, that's how it is. That's why I like 100 Thieves joining the league. It's because at least 100 Thieves adds a team that cares about branding a little bit. Because I feel like Cloud9 does care about some branding, and they do a really good job on social media, don't get me wrong. But I don't feel like Cloud9 is really as good at making like banger YouTube videos and popping off on streaming at all times. I feel like TSM and 100 Thieves kind of are ahead of the curve there at getting big streamers and big Twitter guys to really pop off their brand.
I mean, I think the easiest way to prove that is you just look at Valorant. New game, and who were the first 2 teams to get in it?
True. Yeah.
TSM and 100 Thieves. Like before they even had esports teams, they had content creators around it. Like they
Yup.
were laying the foundation very
Yeah.
early on to get big in those games. Like they understand how to get ahead of trends better than any other orgs. Now, granted, I would argue those two have the most resources to do so, but
True.
like it's night and day, the TSM and 100 Thieves difference, which is why I think like if you could ask for a rivalry in esports, it has to be
That's
100 Thieves TSM right now. Like I think that's what drives the most amount of viewership realistically. And like there's already a little bit of not bad blood, but like there's a little bit of rivalry between 100 Thieves and TSM.
Yeah.
Like back in the days when it was like Ryoma was starting carry for a full year, it was, oh my god, how does Ryoma always play decently well against only Bjergsen and stretch these games out to 60 minutes every time? Like there's a little bit of agony in there. That's like all we need is somebody to light the fire just a little bit between the two, and I feel like you could have a really good rivalry going.
It's already, and it's even pretty. I think what helped too was Closer and BB constantly battling against each other. That was fun to have because they were
Yeah.
always Twitter beefing. And I think what would help a ton is imagine a 100 Thieves TSM like league game being co-streamed by dudes like Couraged and Myth. That would be
Oh,
hilarious, and everybody would tune into that.
dude, I would legitimately pay money to hear Courage cast the LCS.
Yeah,
That would be
Courage and Myth
phenomenal.
are like the two funniest dudes on Twitch, in my opinion, that are like signed by teams. Like for Valorant, I mean, Myth had me watching Valorant, and you know my opinion on Valorant. I call it a dead game all the time. I know it's not, but it's a dead game to me. And I would watch Myth sit there and like coach that team, fake coach them. And he sat there one time just laying down like this after they lost. And I was like, this is the dude. Like, I need this in LCS. I don't need double lift. Like, Devil's just not that animated, I guess, emotionally. So it's not
No.
enough for me.
Like that's what I do appreciate about Dom, is that he's one of the few former pro players that just
True.
thrives in content. Like his personality can drive a 20-minute video alone. It's oh, that was the other person that was in the video today. Yasuo was in there as well. From 100
Yasuo
Thieves.
was?
Yeah, it was really good.
I like Yasuo.
I
Yeah.
enjoy the guy. I admittedly don't watch as much of his I don't watch much league content outside of like the LCS or like any of the pro leagues like LEC.
Yeah. We know me and T1.
Of course.
Problem.
How many channel points you got?
I'm at like 300k now because I've been
Jesus.
channel betting like 50 grand a game. So
You're insane.
yeah.
Any final send-offs? Any final words? This is going to be the last time that people hear both of us before TSM and 100 Thieves face off. What do you got?
I would say just remember everyone, at your lowest, if TSM manages to lose, which they won't, because we all know FBI will just flash in and die anyways in a big fight, we're fine. We're still going to be first, at least tied, and we're the best. So why does it matter? TSM FTX hasn't lost a game, baby. And if 100 Thieves beats us, we'll just cry in $210 million. Okay? That's all I got.
Wow. On that note, to the 100 Thieves fans out there, I would just say we are going to see a lot of different looks from the organization over the next 9 weeks. I don't think Reaper is going to be like the same thing that we saw with Ziggs and a few of the other coaches. The styles that we are going to see played from week to week are going to be different. 1 week we are probably going to see Abadagi on Karma all week. The next week we might see him on carries the entire week. I think there's going to be a lot of experimenting during the regular season. If they are able to pull off wins while experimenting with these, there's going to be a lot of hope. Like a ton of hope. If they don't win, as long as they look good, I'm fine with that. So even if we lose to TSM this week, I'm not going to be bothered so long as the signs are there.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're able to beat 100 Thieves, or not 100, if we're able to beat TSM, and we're able to beat them with a different style than we showed this week as well, Paul's not gonna hear the end of it. He's really not.
Yeah, it'll be a problem. Yeah.
But
Oh, and final thing to say real quick. Let's get a schedule, VCS. Can we figure this out?
yeah,
Come on.
I'm trying to
schedule.
maximize our tweet potential here by making sure I get tweets scheduled out whenever NRG is playing, and I can't do that whenever we don't know when we're playing. So
Yeah, we don't even know if the league's gonna be a thing at this point. Goodness.
we're just trying to get to the NRG castle, people. That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah,
It's not much of an
that's it.
ask.
Yeah, we're just. I mean, it's not our fault that we're shilling.
Yep.
Everybody's got to shill for something.
Yeah, damn right. All right. Everybody, have a good weekend. I was just notified in chat that apparently this only is streamed at 1080p 60 FPS, which apparently some people can't handle. Completely get that. I'm not sure why. I'll try and get that figured out for next week for the Twitch stream. For you, yeah, for YouTube, I don't think you'll have a problem with that. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you next week on the Crossover Podcast. Same time, same place. We'll be here. And suck it, TSM.
You're the worst.
I love y'all.
Bye.
Adios.